It touches dry grass like a whisper, and within seconds, that whisper turns into a scream. Flames leap from bush to fence, from fence to porch. The house next door is already beginning to burn, the fire devouring it like it's been waiting for this moment. Panic spreads faster than the flames. Inside Molly's home, footsteps rush. A man, mid-40s, breathing hard, bursts into the room, grabbing keys, a bag, shouting into his phone. His voice shakes. There's no time, no plan, just escape. He calls out, "Molly! Molly, come here!" But the cat doesn't move. Not this time. Molly wasn't always this still, this watchful. She was found on the side of a highway, barely alive, covered in dirt, her breathing shallow. A truck driver had spotted her, pulled over, and wrapped her in an old flannel shirt before dropping her off at a local shelter. That's where Daniel Harper met her. Daniel wasn't looking for a cat. In fact, he wasn't looking for anything. His life had already been stripped down to the essentials. Wake up, go to work, come home, sit in silence. Ever since the accident, the house felt too big, too empty. But Molly didn't behave like the other animals in the shelter. She didn't meow, didn't claw, didn't beg for attention. She just sat there, watching people pass by, as if she understood something they didn't. And for reasons Daniel couldn't explain, he stopped walking. He adopted her that same day. Over time, Molly became more than just a pet. She became routine, presence, quiet companionship in a house that had forgotten what warmth felt like. She followed Daniel everywhere, kitchen, living room, even sat outside the bathroom door. But there was one room she never entered, the spare bedroom. The door always stayed closed, and Daniel never talked about why. The fire isn't just spreading now, it's hunting. Wind-driven, unpredictable, jumping streets, skipping barriers. Emergency alerts scream through phones. Neighbors bang on doors. Cars clog the roads. Daniel's hands shake as he throws essentials into a duffel bag. Documents, wallet, a photo frame he hesitates over for a second too long. Outside, the sky has turned an unnatural orange. "Molly," he calls again, louder this time. She's still by the window. He runs to her, scoops her up, but the moment he turns toward the door, she struggles violently, claws digging into his arms. She twists, leaps out of his grip, and lands back on the floor, sprinting away from the exit, straight down the hallway, toward the spare bedroom. Daniel freezes. "No, no, not now," he mutters, panic rising. Smoke is already seeping through the vents. He follows her. The hallway feels longer than it ever has. Heat presses in from the walls. The sound of crackling would growing louder with every step. Molly sits in front of the closed spare bedroom door, scratching at it desperately. Daniel stares. He hasn't opened that door in years. "Molly, we have to go," he says, voice breaking. But she doesn't listen. She scratches harder, then looks back at him. Not like a pet, but like something pleading. "Urgent," insistent. And then, a loud crash echoes from outside. Part of the roof collapses next door. Flames reflect through the hallway window. Time is running out. Daniel's hand slowly reaches for the doorknob. For a moment, he hesitates. Then he opens it. The room inside is frozen in time. Dust-covered furniture, a small bed, toys scattered across the floor. And on the far wall, a framed drawing slightly tilted. A child's drawing. Molly rushes in immediately, heading straight toward the closet. She begins pawing at it, frantic. Daniel follows, confused, heart pounding for reasons that have nothing to do with the fire. He opens the closet door. Inside a small box, one he hasn't touched since the accident. The house is no longer safe. Flames have reached the back porch. Smoke thickens, making it hard to breathe. Every second inside is a risk. But Daniel isn't moving. He stares at the box in his hands, his mind racing, memories crashing in all at once. The accident, the loss, the silence that followed. Everything he buried in this room. And Molly, she doesn't leave his side. She sits next to him, unusually calm now, as if her job is done. Another crack echoes. The ceiling groans. Reality snaps back. Daniel grabs the box, tucks it into his bag, and finally stands. Okay, we go now. This time, when he reaches for Molly, she doesn't resist. She lets him carry her. They burst through the front door just as flames begin licking the edges of the roof. The heat is overwhelming, the air thick with ash. Neighbors are gone. Cars abandoned mid-drive. Daniel runs, Molly held tightly against his chest. Behind them, the house begins to collapse. By the time they reach the end of the street, it's already too late to look back. The entire block is swallowed in fire. Hours later, an evacuation center, Daniel sits in silence, covered in soot, clutching Molly. In the box, a volunteer offers water, blankets, questions, but he barely hears them. He slowly opens the box. Inside, photographs, drawings, and a small, worn-out stuffed animal belonging to his daughter, the one he lost, the one whose room he could never face again. The fire took everything. The house is gone, the street erased, entire neighborhoods reduced to ash. But Daniel survived, and so did Molly. In the quiet of a temporary shelter room, something has changed. The silence is different now. Not empty, but reflective. Daniel sits on a small bed, the box open beside him. He goes through the items slowly, no longer avoiding them, no longer running. Molly rests next to him, calm, still, watching, as if she knew all along. As if, in the middle of chaos, fire, and destruction, she had one mission. Not to escape, but to make sure he didn't leave something behind again. Something more important than a house. Something he had been running from for years. And in the end, the cat that refused to leave a burning house didn't act out of fear. She acted out of memory, out of connection, out of a bond deeper than survival. Because sometimes the things we try hardest to forget are the ones that quietly wait to be saved.